Okay friends, my name is BK Kollapure. I have completed my BE Civil from PDA, MTech in Structural Engineering from PDA, and today I am handling with the subject on strength of materials. So brief introduction about me. I have published about 30 papers in national and international conferences and journals. I have authored 2 books, means I have written 2 books. One is on elements of civil engineering and engineering mechanics, which you have studied in your first year, and another book is strength of materials that you are going to study in this semester. Now here, this subject is very important for civil engineers and mechanical engineers and allied. Why means the structures that you are going to design, any structure that you are going to design, you should know 2 things: how much load you are putting and how much is the strength of the material. Whether the load that you are putting, the members are capable, beam, column, whether they are capable of taking the load. So for that you are supposed to know the strength of materials. Now here in earlier semester you have studied about engineering mechanics. So mechanics is the study of the forces and effect of the force on a body. So in general you have studied, there you have studied rigid bodies. Rigid bodies are the bodies which do not deform. Suppose if you take a steel ball, can you press it? It will not deform if you apply the load. Whereas in strength of materials you are going to study about deformable bodies. Deformable bodies are the bodies which will be deforming. Rigid body, deformable body. You take a rubber ball, you can deform that by application of the load. This is general comparison you can do steel ball and a rubber ball. Now here the strength of material, what you are going to study is in details, and this is the basic subject for you civil engineers, because unless you know the strength of materials, their properties, you cannot design the structures. Now here in this you are going to study some of the things. I will brief out what you are going to study. You are going to study about the forces or the loads that are coming. Based upon that we will be finding out what is the stresses acting. Once you know the stresses acting, you can find out what is the strains that are acting, means load, deformation, relation between the load and deformation, what you call it as Young's modulus. You are going to study lateral strain, longitudinal strain, Poisson's ratio, thermal stresses. This is one part what you are going to study. Then you are going to study about complex stresses. Complex means the stresses are acting in x direction and in y direction. These are known as the complex stresses, where you will be finding out the normal stresses and the shear stresses. You will see what are normal stresses and shear stresses once we enter inside. You are going to study about the torsion of the shafts. You are going to study thin cylinders and thick cylinders. What are the stresses that are induced in that? You are also going to study about the columns, how the columns are going to buckle, how much load the column will be taking. Plus you will be studying about the deflection of the beams, how the beams are going to deflect. You are studying about the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram. So these are the things that you will be studying under the subject of strength of material. It is a bit lengthy, but you need to do practice. You can do it easily. You understand the concept and try to solve the problem. So let me begin with the subject on strength of materials. Let me take with a simple example. See, this is an elastic rubber. Very simple tool that will give you a lot of concept. See, whenever I am pulling it, it is getting stretched. If I am removing it, it is coming back to its original shape and size. Right? Now suppose if I take this wire and if I hang a weight to this, so what will happen to the rubber? It is going to stretch. Suppose if I show it here, this is a body which is hanging of weight W and it is fixed at the top, held here. So it is having some weight. Now what I will do, whatever weight that is acting, who is going to bear it? The rubber. It is safe, means whatever load I have applied, the rubber is capable of withstanding it. If I have applied 1 kg of load, then the rubber has capacity to withstand 1 kg of load. Means the load what I am applying is the external load, and the strength of the rubber or the material is the resistance of the body. My load is external load, resistance is the internal load that the rubber can withstand. Suppose to this I'll add another weight like this. What is happening? The rubber is going to stretch and the load will move down by a certain value of delta deflection. Why? I have increased the load. Suppose I have added 2 kg of load. That is my load I have applied. How much is the resistance offered by the body? It is again 2 kgs. So this is the external load what we are applying and this is the internal resistance what it is bearing. Are you following me? Anybody respond? Okay. So load is the external load and this is the internal load. If I further add one more load to this, still it increases in the load. So here we are seeing two things. The basic thing what we are seeing. One is the load I am applying. Second is the resistance the body is giving. Resistance is due to the load acting. Second aspect what you are seeing is whenever you are applying the load, the member is getting stretched or deflected or we call it as deformed. So two aspects are to be studied here. That's the only thing you are going to study in the mechanics, strength of materials. One is the load and the resistance related to that, and load gives the deflection. As the load goes on increasing, deflection will also go on increasing. So these are the two things that you are going to study in strength of material. Load is external load which I am applying. Resistance is the strength of the material, that is the internal force developed. Load acting is external load, resistance developed is the internal load. Since the system is in equilibrium, when the system is in equilibrium, sigma h is 0, sigma v is 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. When all these three are 0, the system is in equilibrium. Now the system is in equilibrium means the external load what I am applying must be equal to the internal resistance of the material. So this is the basic principle on which we will be finding out. So whatever external load that we have applied, that itself will be the internal resistance offered by the body. As I am going to increase the load, the deformation will also go on increasing. Here see I am stretching it. It is in tension. If I take any other member, if I press it like this, it is getting compressed. So this is a compressive load and tensile load. Tensile load causes stretching and the compressive load will cause the compression. So this is the basic thing what we are going to see in strength of material. Now whenever I am talking about the material, we need two aspects. One is the internal resistance. And second is the deformation Now I had told you to keep pen and paper with you, notebook with you. Whatever I am writing on the board, you are supposed to note down in your notebook. I need not tell you copy it. Whatever is there on the board should be in your notebook. Please make note of that. Now here, when we are calling strength of materials, now there are certain properties which you are supposed to know about the body. So here there are certain strengths which you are supposed to know. We will see what are the properties of the material. We call them as mechanical properties of the materials. Mechanical, please note down. Next time I will not tell it. Mechanical properties of materials. Mechanical properties of material. The first property, very simple property, is elasticity. Now the best example what I have shown you just now is the rubber. Whenever I apply load to this, it will deform. When I leave the load, it will come back to its original shape and size. So whenever the material gets stretched due to load, if I release the load, the material will come back to its original shape and size. So such a property we call it as elasticity, where the material will regain its original shape and size. So here it will regain original shape and size. So such a material is known as the elastic material. The second property is plasticity. It is just the reverse of elasticity. If the material do not regain its original shape and size, we call such a material as plastic. There is some amount of deformation when you remove the load. So such a material we call it as a plastic material. So here plasticity you can say do not regain its original size and shape. Size and shape. So this is the second property. Third property of the material is stiffness. Stiffness. So if you take a member, if you want to bend it, it is resisting because it has got stiffness. So you take columns beam, they have tendency to bend. If they don't miss, we call them as stiffness. They have got more stiffness. So stiffness is a property which will resist deformation or deflection. Which will resist deformation or deflection due to load. Due to load. The other property what you study is very important property for we people. We call it as ductility. Ductility. Ductility is a property of the material which can be drawn into wires. Whenever you draw the material in terms of wires, in form of wires, we call it as ductility. It can be drawn into wires due to tension. Means pull. Whenever I pull it, it automatically becomes in form of a wire. So this is the ductility property. So remember, ductility begins with drawn in wires. Whenever we stretch in the form of wires, we call such a material as a ductile material. The best example you can quote is mild steel. You get steel in form of the rod which you are used for construction. Gold. You make gold ornaments by making in form of thin wires. Then you can also quote silver. These are the ornaments which we do by stretching it in form of a wire. So these are the one which can be drawn in terms of wire. The next property is brittleness. Brittleness. Now this property is when you draw in terms of wire, we call it as ductility. When you cannot draw in terms of wire, in form of wire, we call it as brittle material. Cannot be drawn in form of wires. They cannot be drawn in form of wire, or they cannot go any deformation. The best example I can give is chalk. Can you bend a chalk? It will break into two pieces. So such material we call it as a brittle material. Concrete also if you take. If you try to stretch concrete, it will immediately break into two pieces. So such material which will not go any deformation and fail, we call them as the brittle material. So the example you can give is cast iron, stone. It will immediately break. Concrete. It will immediately break. Chalk. The board chalk what we use. You cannot bend it. It will immediately break into two pieces. Such materials we call it as a brittle material. The other property is malleability. Malleability. See, you have seen sheets GI sheets, patra what you call, they are stretched in all the directions. You see your vessels, they are made up of sheets. So such a property in which the material can be stretched in all the directions, we call such a material as malleable, or such a property called as malleable property. So you can say uniformly extended, it can be uniformly extended in all directions. It can be uniformly extended in all the directions. So you can use aluminum, you get aluminum vessels, you get copper vessels like this. These are some of the examples of malleability property. Seventh is strength. Strength. I have got sufficient strength, means whatever load is coming on that, it is capable of withstanding. Such a property is known as the strength of the material. So it can resist load applied without failure. So such a material we call, such a property we call it as strength. It is capable of withstanding the load without failure. The next property is toughness. See, all terms look like, but they have got different meaning. So toughness means the material has capacity of absorbing the energy. So such a property we call it as the toughness, absorb energy. See, whenever there is impact load, the material should be capable of absorbing the energy. Such a property we call it as toughness, absorb energy above elastic limit without fracture. Such a property we call it as the toughness of the material. There are some more properties like isotropy. Iso means same, isotropy means same elastic properties in all directions. Suppose if you take a steel rod, it has got same properties in all the directions, x, y, z, center. It has got the same properties. So such a material we call it as the isotropic material. The other, homogeneity. So if it has got composition and the properties are same throughout the material, same composition and same elastic property throughout the material, we call such a material as homogeneous. Means it has got same elastic properties and composition. Composition is chemical composition in all directions. So these are some of the properties of the material. Now all the material cannot have all the properties. Some material having some property which will be opposite compared to the other properties. So whenever we choose the material, we should know what are the properties which we need for the designing of the structure. Those properties we will try to impart to the material for use for construction purpose. So now you must have got the idea about what is the strength of the material, because strength of the material will decide the design of the structures. How much should be the size of the structure whenever you are using it for the construction. Now next important part is we come across the term load. You already studied in mechanics load, or we can also call it as forces. What is a force? Force is an agent which changes the state of the body. Means from static to dynamic or dynamic to static. So that agent we call it as the force or the load. Now here in practice we come across various types of load. One is based upon manner of application. Manner of application. We usually call them as dead load, live load, wind load, earthquake load, snow load. These are the different types of load. In general we call them as. Now the second type of load what we see is based upon effect on body. How they affect the body? Effect on the body. Effect on the body. And this is the one which we are going to study in the detail. What is the effect of the force on the body? Now suppose if I take a member, any member, this is the longitudinal axis, this is the length of the member, and you can take any cross section, rectangle or circular. These are the cross. If you cut it like this, if I cut this one, you see it's a circular cross section, or if I cut this one, you get a rectangular or square cross section. So here cross section may be any type, but L is the length of the member. Now what I'll do, I'll apply force P and P on the either side. So what will happen to this? How I am applying the load? I am applying longitudinal. So I am applying along the axis. We call such a load as axial load, because it is acting in the axial direction. Now what will happen to the member? I have shown you just now. If I apply an axial load, if I apply the load like this, what is happening to the member? It is getting stretched. Means I am pulling it. So whenever I pull it, we call the force as tensile force. Tensile force. Tensile force is nothing but pull. Now what will happen to the member when I apply tensile load? It will stretch. Length will increase. Okay, see again one concept I will tell you. When the length will increase, what will happen to the width and depth? They will decrease. If I pull it, they will decrease. B and D will decrease, whereas the length will increase. Suppose same member, if this is the axis, if I apply the load in this direction, P and P, that means I am applying the load like this. So what is happening to the member? It is getting compressed. So such a load we call it as compressive load. Compressive load. And this compression is due to push. Pull will cause tension, push will cause compression. So we call it as tensile force and compressive force. These are the two types of forces that we are seeing when it is acting along the axis. One more important thing you note down here, how I am applying the load in the axial direction. This is a cross section and this is the load. Here load and cross section are perpendicular to each other. Load is acting perpendicular to the cross section. That is, it is acting normal to the cross section. It is acting normal to the cross section. Okay, this is the axial force. Now there is another type of force. What you see? Suppose if I take a member, if I fix it at the bottom, and if I apply the load like this, P or say F, if I apply the force like this. Now here, whenever I am applying the force here, it is fixed at the bottom. If it is not fixed, it will be moving on the surface. But it is fixed at the bottom, means whatever force I am applying, this surface of contact should give opposite reaction. You have studied in friction chapter. So due to friction there it will be giving the opposite force. So this force will be in the opposite direction. This is right, this is F, this is F, this is also F. Because the system is in equilibrium. Sigma H will be 0, sigma V will be 0, sigma M is also equal to 0. See, whenever I apply such a load, then what will happen to this? This is going to deform like this, making certain angle here. This force, what we are applying, is the parallel force. You must have seen carpenter, Randa. How he will put? He will apply the, if this is the wooden piece, he will apply the load like this with the help of his Randa. So it is acting parallel to the surface. So such a force we call it as the parallel force. Whenever the force is parallel, we call that force as shear force. What is shear force? Very simple, parallel force. Parallel force. You remember this? Shear force is the parallel force. You do skating. So whenever you do skating, you will be applying force parallel to the ground so that you can move in the forward direction. So shear force is the force which is acting parallel to the surface. This force is a normal force because it is acting perpendicular to the surface. This force is parallel force because it is acting parallel to the surface. So such a surface we call it as the shear force. Now at present these two are important for you. The other forces what you come across, just I'll tell you what are those forces. Torsional or twisting force. Torsion or twisting force. Now here we squeeze our cloths. So how we squeeze your cloth? You squeeze in this direction, opposite to each other. So if I do like this rod is going to twist. So such a force we call it as the twisting force or twisting moment. Suppose if I fix at one end a bar and if I try to rotate this, it will get twisted. So such a force we call it as the twisting force or the torsion. The other type of force what we come across is bending force. Bending force. Now here if I take any member, if I try to bend, such a force we call it as a bending force. Suppose if it is like this, so here if I bend it in this direction, apply the moments, so it is going to bend in this direction. So such forces are known as the bending forces. The bottom are in tension and the top are in compression. So this is couple is nothing but moment. This is another couple which is again moment. So such type of forces we call it as the bending forces. So we have seen what is load, what is tensile load, pulling, what is compressive load, pushing, what is shear force, acting parallel to the plane. We have seen twisting force, we have seen bending forces. So we are going to study all the forces as we go ahead. So in this chapter you are going to study about the tensile force, compressive force which are acting perpendicular to the surface, and another is the shear force acting. I think today I will stop here. So we will continue the class tomorrow again. I will let you the time tomorrow in the morning. Most probably I will be taking in the evening from 4:30 or 5. I hope that time is convenient for you also, because during college time it is very difficult. I am taking from my home. College facility is not there. I am okay. If there is any doubt, you please don't hesitate to ask me. This subject needs some understanding, understand the concept and practice. If I do 100 problems, it's of no use. You are doing 10 problems is very much helpful. So practice. Now coming to book, in syllabus copy, I'll send you syllabus, course outcome and POs. All those I'll be sending you on WhatsApp. You can just follow that. Syllabus copy also I'll be sending you. Now there are 5 models as you know. So I have begun with the first module. Now you be day to day prepared for this. It's a very tough subject, right? So try to gain knowledge here. Knowledge gaining is very important in this subject. So tomorrow we will be continuing, and books, they have mentioned some books in their syllabus copy. You can refer any book. I will be referring this book. You can choose any book. Okay? Thank you. We will continue tomorrow. Any doubt? Anybody can respond me. How was that? How was the lecture? Can anybody? Shivraj. Okay, anyway, thank you.